moved forward in the world and made choices. To put lightly. Wait, Mario, which one did you buy? Was the Wednesday one a new project, like a today new project for you, MJ? Celadon Shawl by Amber O'Brien with Sora's Teal Fade Set and Spicy Lavender. Yes. I'm always gonna, I think I'm almost always gonna say cast on something new because it's fun. Unless it's going to stress you out to have another project on the needles, then don't do it. We're getting an ad soon. Mario, I appreciate how tuned you are with the music that I'm playing. Oh shit, I forgot to pop him up. Hold up. Thanks for the reminder. I'm making a modified version of this guy. You got the spruce one? Yes. Nice. Good night, Scorpy. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Have a good night. I've been trying to talk myself out of buying one. No, do it, do it, do it. Do you know how much yarn I've gotten in the last month? Do it. Please join us. 711 stitches in 4 hours. I should time mine at some point. I've never timed how fast I cross stitch. And I should do that. Because I would like to know how long it's going to take me to do this 16-inch square unicorn one that I have. I really hope it's not like 4 years. I would like to have it framed up in my room at some point, though. It'd be really nice. How long do projects typically stay on the needles? It really depends on how, like, what the project is. Some people... Let me get all this extra floss off of this sock. Some people can knit a pair of socks in, like, a week. I am not one of those people. In which case, it would be off the needles. But I can't do that. It's too fast for me. Because I work on too many other things at the same time, and I have other hobbies that I deeply invest myself in, so it's just too much stuff for me to be able to accomplish a pair of socks in a week. A sweater, the fastest I've ever knit a sweater was 3 weeks. I do not recommend that. Most of my sweaters stay on the needles for months because I'm doing multiple. So, but there are people that can whip that, like, well, I don't know if healthily is the right word because I don't know if they're overworking their joints, but like people can, like, some people can get sweaters out. Yeah, it's like when I was making my sweater in 3 weeks, I was staying up until I fell asleep with the needles in my hands. And then, like, as soon as I was off work, anytime that I wasn't doing my job, I was knitting, and then I was falling asleep knitting to get it done because I was so excited. There was no deadline. I was just excited to be doing it. So that's fine, but I also wasn't getting enough sleep, so I had to stop doing that really fast. And it also depends on how, like, what the gauge is, because, like, if I wanted to knit a pair of socks in a week, I could knit it in a really, really, really thick yarn and just be done with it. But I'm knitting in sock yarn, which is thin as hell. I also have a sweater that I'm planning on knitting that's in lace weight, which is thinner than this, for an entire oversized sweater. And that's gonna take me probably a couple years. Let's be real. If I work on nothing else, I could, but I love working on just a lot of things. I did set aside, like, all of my whips so that I could work on my mystery knit-along shawl throughout October. And so, like, people can knit an entire shawl in 4 weeks. maybe could have if I wasn't doing other stuff like skating and streaming. I got through 3 of my 4 clues in a month. But like, this is not a normal pace for me for a shawl. A shawl stays on for me for a while. But like, this enormous creature is 4 weeks of work for me when I have non-crafting hobbies that I'm also taking care of. So I'm excited about this though. She's what's the name of that moth? I always want to call it the pink lemonade moth. The rosy maple moth. She's giving the rosy maple moth, and I love it. Derpy animals. After spending $1,000 in yarn last month, I told myself no more, and then I bought 2 kits this week. Oh my gosh. You went hard, Mario. Oh my god. I think it took me... Like, I couldn't spend $1,000 over a year on yarn. I did that my first year. I don't think I've done that since then. I had to build up that stash, but now I have one. I don't need to do that anymore. Yeah, I also, if I tried to knit, like, the pace of a sweater in 3 weeks, I think my elbow would probably need, like, surgical attention. My joints just cannot do it, which is fine. I need to pace myself anyway. Yeah, bulky sweater. The one that I knit in 3 weeks was an Aran weight. It was a thick one. And I think I knit one in 3 weeks that was bulky. It was my first 2 sweaters that I knit at that pace. And I have not knit anything at that pace since then. I did knit a vest in 6 days. I knit 2 vests in 6 days. But they were both, like, thick. The one with the stars on it that I did for my anniversary, I knit that in 6 days. Without the stars, obviously. And then there's one that I knit last Christmas over 6 days, but I was literally like at my parents' house just vibing in front of the fireplace, knitting for 6 days straight. So it wasn't like I was trying to fit it in around a job. This is why I don't think I can enjoy something like knitting. I'm very patient normally, but for some reason, the time it takes seems way too long. Well, you can knit in heavier weight yarn. You can also just knit smaller things. You don't have to knit sweaters. You can also knit like accessories or washcloths if you just want something to do with your hands. I wound some fingering weight yarn a couple weeks ago. Hated every minute of it while doing it. I definitely decided I needed a Swift. Yeah, I have a ball winder, but I don't have a Swift, and it definitely makes things a lot easier. But I still have to kind of block out the time to wind up, especially fingering weight yarn, because I have to like put it on my knees and then hunch over and like crank the ball winders. And I can't move, otherwise the yarn gets tangled, so I have to block out that time. Can you pick up your stitches tonight? Yeah, I would like to. I'm thinking about it. I do want to work on multiple projects tonight. I don't think I can just work on one. Firefest took me out. Wait. Firefest. Definitely spent $1,000 on you. I know that I just got it in the mail last week. I do have an advent calendar that I bought for this year, and those are not cheap. I've probably spent maybe $800 on yarn this year. Very much an estimate, because between the sweater quantity that I got recently and the advent calendar, that's $600 right there. And I've purchased like single skeins and stuff throughout the year too, so I wouldn't be surprised if I was close to like 800. Hi Dua, how's it going? I'm yapping too much and not getting anything done. I've accomplished like this very small section of stitches today. And how long have I been live? Like over an hour, barely, but like still an hour, and this is all I've done. So I won't shut up. I'm not normally like a massive yapper, but today the yap trap is open for business. How are you? It's good to see you. I have enough issues with... What is RSI? My job and my main hobbies all employed. Oh, is that like... I'm not going to try and guess what that is. I do not have the brain power on the... For some reason, the left side of my brain says, no, don't think about it. I don't have the brain power to think about what RSI means. But I feel like I'm catching your vibe. I think I'm catching your vibe. Because I sit at a computer with my arms bent and my wrists bent all day. And then when I try and knit and I haven't moved my wrists around enough, like my elbow in particular, my right side, is really unhappy. The Irish doll in 2 weeks was a one skeiner. Yeah, okay. Did you work on it like by itself? Also, have you posted pictures of it anywhere? I don't know how much I've spent this year. We did spend like half the stream talking about Sonic's feet. Yeah. Sonic's feet and whether or not he's wearing socks and Sonic fan fiction. But it's fine because he's one of my husbands, so I am allowed to talk about it. It's fine. Like, okay. I was catching your vibe. I got you. Yeah. I broke my elbow in 2018, which is why I think that's why it's like aggravated so easily. I got some hardware in there. So it crunches sometimes when I just like do this. I don't think it will today. It feels like it's doing all right. Oh, I don't know if y'all heard that. It's kind of like when Jessica Day from New Girl talks about how she like was fist pumping too hard at like a show when she was younger and now her elbow crunches. That's how I feel about my elbow, except I broke it rock climbing. Yay! Oh, Crafty Cat, I just saw your little... is that a spider? That is so cute. And the Wednesday Addams progress. I love that you're doing it on that fabric, too. Broke it right. Yeah, no, okay. So you were on ropes. You're fine. You'll be fine. I was climbing without ropes, and I was in a cave. I was indoors. I was climbing indoors, but they had, like, a cave. And I do, yeah. Thank you, Crafty Cat. Doing Frost's job. I'm trying to... So I was climbing up to the top of the cave from the inside, and I was at the mouth of the cave. I was basically upside down like Spider-Man with like my hands and my feet on the wall. And then I had my hands on one hold, and there was one over here that I had to get to, but I had to like kind of jump for it, I guess. And so I jumped for it. I caught... Imagine this is my arms stretched out so I could stay in frame. But I caught the hold with this hand, and then my body swung, and I went to catch it with this hand, and I missed. And so this hand popped off of the hold, and this arm was straight down as my body was doing this. And my hand with my outstretched, locked out elbow was the first thing to hit the ground. And so my elbow, like, pushed out this way. And I heard that bitch crunch. I heard it. But I had never broken a bone before. And so I was like... and I thought a broken bone would hurt more than the way this hurt. It hurt a lot. I rated it as like an 8 out of 10, but I thought that a broken bone would hurt more than a migraine hurts, which I have also rated. At the time, I had rated my worst at an 8 as an 8 out of 10. And I was like, okay, I didn't break this bone. I just like stretched my ligaments a lot, I guess, or whatever. And it didn't bruise right away or anything like that. It didn't swell at all. And so I had a friend take me home, and I waited 3 days before I went to a same-day clinic to get it checked out, because even though it hurt it hurt. I was like awake through the night for both of these days because I was in so much pain. But I didn't decide to go to urgent care until it started turning purple. And then I was like, maybe I should get this checked out. And they sent me, the first guy that I went to said that I think he like X-rated it. Ooh. He X-rayed it and he either decided that I had just barely cracked it or like I hadn't broken it or something. I can't remember, but he sent me to a specialist just in case, and they did a CAT scan on it, and he was like, oh yeah, you impacted and displaced your radial head. So I impacted my bones and then I displaced my bones. And they had to go in there and screw it all back together. So I thought that I didn't break my bone, but I actually kind of fucked it up a little bit. And that's how bad a migraine hurts, basically, if you needed some reference, if you've never had one, because I thought that it would hurt more than that. I thought it would hurt more than my brain feeling like it was getting stabbed by 1,000 ice picks. I'm just so surprised that like I literally heard it crunch. I heard the bone break, and I still was like, I didn't break it. I didn't break it. It's fine. I didn't cry. I kind of had to sit there in shock for a second, though. I do remember that. I was like sitting there because like, so you know how like sometimes you stub your toe really bad and that pain just kind of radiates, but it's fine after a couple minutes. That's kind of what I thought was going to happen. But yeah, you did bounce off the wall. Yeah, that's good. That's part of it. You're doing great. But I mean, it also took, I really should have stopped before that moment happened. Like it was the end of my session and I was kind of in a bad headspace. But I kept doing like well, I'll just do it one more time and I will get it. I'll just do it one more time. And I kept pushing when I shouldn't have. I should have stopped. So it was my own fault. Just because I haven't chatted in 20 minutes doesn't mean I'm not here. John, I tried to do a Roz voice earlier. If you're talking about the Monsters Inc. lady, I tried to do a Roz voice earlier. So it's funny to me that that you're bringing her up today. Broke my ankle when I was a kid. My mom said I went a couple days before I started complaining. Wow. I also sprained my ankle rock climbing, but it was because when I fell, I was in a gym that had like the mats were like velcroed together, so that it was like two mats next to each other with just like a velcro flap over the top to hold them together, and when I fell my foot went in between them. So it wasn't rock climbing's fault. That one wasn't really my fault. That one was like the fault of the flooring in that place. But yeah. But if you climb with ropes, especially top roping, you're good. You're fine. I had that foot or that ankle in like an air cast, and I wasn't allowed to use it for a couple weeks, and so I just strapped in on the top ropes and I climbed with one foot. It was really helpful for like dialing in on technique though, and not relying on that foot, and more so on balance, which was really cool. You slipped on the ice on your front steps. Oh, radial head stuff is rough, dude. Because they like want you to move it as soon as possible as well. Or at least for me, because if you leave it locked or like bent the whole time that it's healing, then you lose so much for range of motion. I lost less than 5% of my range of motion, which is they were really surprised by. So now it's not really noticeable, but I feel like this elbow kind of ever so slightly curves back out this way, whereas this one's just like dead straight. So I basically just went from like a little bit like very, very minor hyperextension to like none. Which is fine. And now it just gets crunchy if I knit too much, which is really tragic. Do you have a dent on the back of my head from landing on my head on a paving stone when I was like 5? What is a paving stone? That's awful though. If it makes you feel any better, excuse me, my parents kept like a baby book, but they left the parts where I like said my first word and what it was blank, but they did write in the day that I hit my head twice on the coffee table. So I'm like, okay, that's what was important to you, I guess. It's me smacking my head twice on the same day. It didn't displace, I didn't have to have any pins or surgery. Just wore a sling for a couple weeks. I still have like my plastic cast thing too. I was like, what if I need it again? I don't want to spend money on another one. A gay elbow and a hetero elbow makes sense why the hetero elbow gets crunchy. A giant decorative stone you put in your garden. Oh, I don't think I've ever heard it called that before. I just call them rocks. Big rocks. It's good to note that stuff for doctors or CPS. Yeah, it would make sense why that might be on their mind, because they had actually the timing of this story is kind of funny too. We had family friends when I was really, really young. And they had a daughter that was a little bit younger than me. And their cat scratched her in the face, and so they took her to the doctors to like get it checked out and all that stuff. And they called CPS on them, even though it was very clearly a cat scratch, I guess. And they were like questioning them and like trying to make sure they weren't abusing her. But there was a day like around the same time that I think I was like 3. I was really young, but I do remember this very clearly. But I was in the bathtub and I was jumping up and down in the bathtub, and my mom was like, just stop jumping up and down in the bathtub, you will fall. And I kept fucking doing that shit anyway, and I fell, and this is the edge of the tub. My teeth went right down on it, and I had my teeth, the front 2 teeth turned completely gray, and my top lip was like so swollen and puffy, it was stuck straight out. My parents have a picture of me eating Cocoa Pebbles the next morning with my enormous fat lip, like nothing had happened. And they were scared that they were going to get CPS called on them because a cat scratch had gotten it called on the family friends, and nothing happened. Nothing happened. It was fine. But yeah. So yeah, I can't bite into cold stuff now, even with my adult teeth. I hate watching people bite into popsicles. Oh, it wigs me out. I can't do it. It's like such an awful feeling to me. But that's like one of my very earliest memories, because it was such a like oh, I should listen to what she tells me. She knows what she's talking about. So, but I just think it's funny that they have a picture of my face afterwards too. Like, y'all want to remember this? But I was fine the next, like emotionally, I was totally fine the next morning, I guess. I just got up and wandered in with like my enormous lip, and I wanted my little bowl of cereal of Cocoa Pebbles. I was raised on Cocoa Pebbles, by the way. But Cookie Crisp was too much sugar. I couldn't just eat cookies for breakfast, but they gave me Cocoa Pebbles and Sunny D. People who bite into popsicles, and I mean this about anyone who's in chat too, people who bite into popsicles and ice cream are psychopaths. Y'all are not okay. It's disgusting behavior, don't do it. It's making me shudder now thinking about it. Yeah, I hate it. It's awful. My dad can do it, but my mom and I are we both have sensitive teeth, and it's just disgusting to us. Don't hit us. You know what? You just outed yourself for us. You could have stayed quiet. You stayed quiet all this time. And now you come out of the woodwork to literally out yourself as a popsicle biter. I want to be able to do it, but it's impossible. I have to like kind of gnaw on it on back here. So it's a really interesting sight, I'm sure. Yeah, absolutely not the front teeth. Ugh. Frost, if we're ever in the same room together and you're biting your popsicles and your ice cream at me, I will leave you there. We already knew Frost was a psychopath. Are you surprised? I'm gonna crunch it right in your face. That's mean! Hashtag unsafe. I'm unsafe. Someone take his sword away. Someone ban Frost. I know, I'm like, maybe not my wisest choice to make the ice cream biter my only mod. I think I've offered Crafty Cat a sword, but Crafty Cat, declined. I'd be happy to give Crafty Cat a sword if Crafty Cat wants a sword. But yeah, there's no pressure. Crafty Cat seems to want to do the job without, like, the name tag, which I totally get. I was like that with my first job. I was like, I will do the work for free, but, like, I get to also go for free. Just ban Frost for the cream. You just threaten to ban people occasionally for the jest. And occasionally for real. But that has not been a very big problem here. Bye, Frost! Did that work? Do I have to do it? See, I don't even know how to mod. It's fine. Crafty Cat has a sword now. Wow! A squirrel with a sword.